Hey everybody, this is Bart with Great Meals Barbecue, and today I'm going to be doing chili with holiday leftovers. Stay tuned. Okay, here's all the ingredients that we're going to be using today for our chili. We've got diced up prime rib. We've got little smokies wrapped in bacon. We've got some bell peppers, green, yellow, and orange. We've got 2 medium-sized jalapenos diced up fine. We've got a medium onion diced up kind of large chunks. We've got 2 medium potatoes diced up. We've got a 15-ounce can of stewed sliced tomatoes, 1 can of petite diced tomatoes. For our seasonings, we're going to be using black pepper, ground cumin, garlic powder, chili powder, kosher salt, and I'm going to be using red kidney beans in my chili today because I don't have any chili beans. This is what I have, so that's what we're going to use. And we'll be back in a few minutes to get started with our chili. Okay, what I've got here is I've got my Dutch oven ready to go. And I'm going to take and put, I don't know, about 2 tablespoons maybe of olive oil in the bottom here. And then we're going to go ahead and add our vegetables in here. Go ahead and get the jalapenos in there, our bell peppers, and our onions. And we're going to let these cook for probably about 5 minutes or so, just to kind of sweat those down. I'm going to completely cook them through here. One thing with my chili, I've always done it where I get this kind of to a rolling boil once I've got everything in here, all the ingredients. And then I will put this down on a simmer and basically let it simmer for several hours, 2 to 3 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and get these vegetables sweat down here, and I'll bring you back when we start adding some of the other ingredients. All right, we've let our vegetables sweat here for about 5 minutes or so. You don't have to go a long time on this because, like I said, this chili is going to simmer for most of the afternoon here. Okay, so our vegetables are where I want them here. So now I'm going to go ahead and start adding our meat in there. And I don't know how much this is. I'd say probably close to a pound of prime rib, maybe a little more. You can use ground beef in this, which is kind of the more the norm, I guess, is ground beef for chili. But I think authentic chili should have, whether it's prime rib or not, it needs to have some kind of beef chunks in it. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in there. I'm going to give that just a couple minutes here to kind of brown up a little bit. And then I'm going to add the little smokies to it. All right, let's see how our prime rib's doing. Okay. You can see it's kind of browned up a little bit, just taking some of that rareness and moved it more toward a medium, which this is going to cook all the way through simply because this is going to simmer all afternoon here. So I'm going to go ahead and add our little smokies with the bacon in them here. Get those in there. Now these little smokies, with the bacon being in there, it's going to give it more of that kind of a smoke flavor. Which I'm putting that in there because bacon makes everything better, right? Got mixed around there. Okay, now I'm going to give this probably, I don't know, 5 minutes here to kind of let all those flavors blend together. And then we're going to come back and start putting our beans and tomatoes and stuff in there with our seasonings. So we'll be right back. All right, our meat's had a few minutes to kind of simmer here, and everything's browned up pretty good. And we're going to go ahead and start adding our beans and tomatoes. So what I've got here is 1 15-ounce can of just regular red kidney beans. Like I said, I didn't have any chili beans today, so we're going to use kidney beans in here. It'll work out just fine. And I did drain the juice off those. And next I'm going to put in our stewed tomatoes. And these I drained off about half the juice, maybe a little more. because you need some moisture in there. And we're going to go ahead and go in with our diced tomatoes. Going to give all that a good stir here. And one thing you'll notice that I'm not putting in here yet are the potatoes, which I know a lot of people are going, why in the world would you put potatoes in chili? One reason is when I was a kid, my mom always put potatoes in our chili. She was actually born and grew up during the Depression, and they had to do what they had to do to kind of make things stretch out a little longer, so they added potatoes to their chili for filler. And I know if you haven't had it, it sounds odd, but once you try it, you'll realize it's actually really good. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start adding our ingredients here, our spices. So what I'm going to add is about 2.5 tablespoons of chili powder. And I will kind of add, sometimes I'll add more of this as I go, depending on how much of the chili flavor I can taste in there. So I'm going to go with about 2.5 tablespoons right now. And then we're going to go with 1 tablespoon of cumin. And the cumin is kind of optional, but I think it needs to be in there. I use cumin obviously in any of my taco meats and stuff, and to me taco seasoning and chili seasonings are pretty similar. Okay, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. And again, I may adjust these as it cooks down here throughout the day. Now I'm going to add about 1/2 tablespoon of black pepper. Okay. And we're going to go with kosher salt. And again, I'm going to go with about, I don't know, a tablespoon or so here. I'm just going to kind of eyeball this. Okay, let me give this a good stir. And I know some people actually don't like to do chili in their Dutch ovens because the acidity of the tomatoes can actually break down your seasoning on your cast iron. I don't get overly concerned about it because every time I use my cast iron, as soon as I'm finished with it, I kind of clean it up and I will warm it back up to about a medium heat and reapply a thin coat of oil on there. One more ingredient here that I didn't have listed initially is regular granulated sugar. So I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit of sugar in here. I'm going to start off with about a tablespoon, and then again I'll kind of test this as we go through the cook, and I may actually add probably another tablespoon of sugar. Just kind of offsets the heat of the jalapenos and stuff a little bit and gives it a little bit of a sweetness. All right, I'm going to leave this here and go ahead and put this down on a simmer, and this is going to cook for a couple hours here. I am going to go ahead and add just a little bit of water to this. I'm going to add maybe a 1/2 can. It's about 8 ounces, I guess. That should be good. All right, we're going to go ahead and let this cook for a couple hours here, and we'll be back to check on it. Okay, our chili's been simmering for a couple hours here. Let's go ahead and take a look, see what we've got. Oh yeah. I did taste this a couple times while this was simmering here, and I did not have to add any additional seasonings or anything. I think it's just right. So we're going to go ahead and get our potatoes in. I got about 30 minutes or so is what these potatoes will take to soften up in here. So I'm going to go ahead and get these in here. And again, these potatoes are optional if you don't want to put them in there. Like I said, it's something I was just kind of accustomed to. And I think it does add some additional texture and maybe not a whole lot of flavor, but those potatoes will absorb a lot of the flavor from the chili. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get those in there. And we're going to let this simmer again for about another half hour or so, and we should be finished up. We'll be back. Okay, it's been right at about 30 minutes here. And I'm going to go ahead and check. What I'm going to check for here is just to make sure that my potatoes are kind of fork tender. Yeah, that's kind of a thin one. Let's check a thicker one here. Yeah, they are fork tender, so this is ready to go. So we'll get some of this served up and we'll be back. All right, our chili is ready to go here. Got a bowl ready. Let's give some of this in here. Make sure we get some of those potatoes and the little smokies. There we go. I'll probably put a little bit of cheese on this when we go to eat here. Got some cornbread, and we're all set. Hope you liked the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.